Hey y'all, it's Bren. Wow, I have a lot to update you on, but at the same time, it's like nothing important. But I want to talk about, well, first of all, I have been through hell with my dogs. They had Giardia the same week that Rosco had surgery on his tooth. I have paid the vet so much money, but also it was terrible. I will tell you the whole story. Oh my God, do not recommend. If anyone has had a pet who's had Giardia, you know what I've been through. Oh my God. But I've been so busy. I can't believe it's August. I can't believe the summer is effectively over, at least in terms of my job. It's kind of like over now. We're ramping up to get ready for our super busy season. I have to start going into work in person next week a whole bunch, and it's been madness. So, yeah, the summer kind of ends at the end of July in terms of my job. And I just remember at the beginning of the summer feeling like, what am I going to do all summer? I'm going to be so bored. Who am I going to hang out with? I need to make friends and have a social life. And now all of a sudden it's August and I'm like, I'm too busy. I have too much stuff to do. Um, I want to tell you about how Bumble BFF has been going. Effectively, I've met 3 people from that website, and now I think I'm done. One of them I'm continuing to be friends with, and actually, she's coming to stay with me tomorrow. The other two have kind of, one I just met once, and she was nice and everything. I don't really think we really clicked. The other one is, I think I kind of mentioned to you, a bit of a conspiracy theorist, so I think we're not really, I don't know that that friendship's going anywhere, but I reconnected recently with a friend that I, over the years, have hung out with every once in a while periodically. I know her from being a small child. She lived next door to my grandparents growing up. We went out to dinner Friday. We had a great time, and she's going to play trivia with us this week, too. And then, of course, I have my friend Cassie. I just got back from being out with my friend Robin today, actually, who I hadn't seen in a little bit. I went out with Pete last weekend. I do want to talk to you guys about that and give you the Pete update. There's really, it's nothing. Like, he's still dating Emily, like, don't worry. But lots of talk about Riot Fest and planning Riot Fest and what are my plans going to be for the festival and everything. So anyway, where do I begin? I guess I'll leave a lot of that friendship conversation, but let me just start with this dog story. If you don't want to hear about dog poop, fast forward, I guess. But the other day, so this was probably like a couple of weeks ago now. Roscoe had his surgery on July 24th. That prior weekend, I woke up on a Sunday morning because Roscoe jumped off the bed. And when he jumps off the bed, he's gonna poop or vomit. Like if he's up and he's like, I'm still asleep and he starts going somewhere, like something's going on. And he throws up all over my floor. Now, remember, I got new carpet in December. It cost me like $5,000 to recarpet my whole upstairs. And so it's not a dark color because I don't like dark color carpet. It's that color. Um, and so there he is. You see him? Hey, bud. I'm telling about how you pooped and barfed all over my house. He starts puking on the carpet, and so I jump out of bed, and my heart's pounding because it's like 8 or something in the morning, and the vomit smells so bad. It's super dark orange, and I realize the vomit smells like poop. So I know that he has eaten poop, which he does sometimes. He loves poop. He has eaten poop, and he's puking it. And as I'm trying to clean up this barf, because I don't want it to stain, I'm looking at him like trying to decide if it looks like he's gonna puke again, and it doesn't look like he is. And then all of a sudden he just does. And I'm like, so I try to grab him because I want to like put him in the bathroom or something while I'm cleaning up the vomits. And he jumps on my bed and he pukes on the bed. And I have brand new sheets. I just bought brand new Brooklyn sheets, like really nice. And then as he's jumping off the bed, he kind of like puke splatters all over the carpet. And so there's little dots of this dark orange poop puke everywhere. I finally get him. I put him in the bathroom. I can hear that he is continuing to vomit in the bathroom, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be okay. And I'm, picking up the vomit, and I've got the spot cleaner and stuff. I run out of paper towels, and I know I have to go get the steam cleaner. I check on him in the bathroom. He's okay. So I leave him in there for now. I go downstairs. River follows me downstairs. And River at this point is just like kind of freaked out, like something's going on, you know? And when I opened the basement door, because I had to go down there, she goes down there and she gets in her crate. And I'm like, that's fine, whatever. She just wants to stay out of the way. But I noticed that in the living room on the main floor, so it's a 3-story condo, on the main floor, he puked upstairs. On the main floor, there is a diarrhea mess in front of my fireplace. Luckily, that one is on flooring, so it'll just be easier to clean up. But I know at that moment that I can tell because there is a girl dog pee, and neither one of my dogs has peed in the house since Rosco was a tiny puppy. Like, they don't pee in the house. Sometimes someone will poop in the house, but no one ever pees in the house. I know at this point River is sick because I know that it's River who's had diarrhea in front of the fireplace and apparently peed, and that is so not like her. That is so weird of her to do. And Rosco is very exactly typical of him to eat the poop and then throw it up all over. That's normal for him. He's a pain in my butt. So I'm like, okay, River must be sick, whatever. She had diarrhea, but I got to clean up this mess on the carpet. So I'm upstairs cleaning up that mess. I get it to where like it's mostly cleaned up, but I had to go back to it later. Like, I had to spot clean multiple times, steam clean multiple times. I mean, it was a disaster. I get him out of the bathroom and I'm like, okay, let me take him down and put him in his crate in the basement now that I think he's done puking, so I can clean up the pukes from the bathroom and then clean up in front of the fireplace. And when I go back downstairs to put him into his crate next to River's crate, which are both downstairs, I see that River has had more diarrhea on the basement carpet, which I don't really care about the carpet down there. No one ever goes down there or hangs out down there, but it is that tight woven carpet. It's been there since the people that lived here before me. It's ugly. I would like to rip it out, but I never have. But I still don't want a big diarrhea spot on it. So now I have to clean up that diarrhea, and then I have to go upstairs and clean up in front of the fireplace. And then I have to go upstairs and clean up the bathroom vomits. And then I had to steam clean the bedroom carpet again because I could see in a different light that there was still stains. And it was like a 2.5 hour cleaning up vomit and poop. And I was just like, what the heck happened? Why is River so sick, you know? And so then that was a Sunday. Monday was uneventful and she had a regular poop. So I was like, okay, must have been a one-time thing. But then Tuesday night I went to trivia. I came home and River had more diarrhea in her crate. So Wednesday morning, I'm dropping Rosco off for his surgery on a cracked tooth, which he cracked on a Benebone. If you ever give your dogs Benebones, maybe don't, because my vet said, you know, anything that you can't stick your fingernail into and make an impression is too hard. He cracked his molar right in half. It's a big 4-pronged tooth, so it ended up only costing me like $700. They originally quoted me $1,000 because he cracked 2 of them, but one he didn't crack through the enamel, so they didn't have to take that one out. But oh my gosh. And River had a chipped tooth as well from those bones, so they can't have those anymore. Nothing hard. So I drop off River. Well, first of all, I have to clean out River's crate of the diarrhea. And then, I go upstairs and she had more diarrhea by the fireplace, because now that's her place of choice to have diarrhea in the house, I guess. But this time it got on my area rug, so I had to clean that. So the next morning I drop Rosco off for her surgery and I'm a mess. Like, I didn't like the fact that they were going to put him under. He's my little baby, and even though he's a big pain in my butt, you know, I don't, obviously I love him to death, and I'm like, I hate that he's going through surgery, so my anxiety is super high. But then I gave him the poop sample for River. I'm like, test this too, please. She's having diarrhea. So I have to spend the whole day, even though my office is upstairs, on the main floor because there's flooring there, and I have to block off the area rug, like roll it back, and I put like baby gates up so that River and I are corralled to the like kitchen and living room where there's not carpet for the day. I forgot the worst part. The worst part was that the night that I got home from trivia, the night before the surgery, Rosco couldn't eat after like 6 p.m. because he was having surgery the next morning. And River, not only did she have diarrhea in her crate and then she had diarrhea on the living room floor, she had diarrhea every hour on the hour all night. So right now my cat's screaming, Clover, I'm sorry I'm not talking about you right now. Luckily, you don't have it, knock on wood. So that night, Tuesday night, I have to get up super early with the dog, but also River has to go outside like every hour. I was up every hour with her, and she was just having just pure liquid coming out of the back of her all night long. So then Wednesday, while Roscoe was at surgery, I had to, while working, take her out like every hour, and she was still just like, she was straining at this point. I put down puppy pee pads that I was like, I knew I kept these for some reason from when Roscoe was a puppy in front of the fireplace where she seemed to like to go. Only one time did she have to use those that I like was on a call and I couldn't run her out or something. And it was just blood. It was just actually red blood coming out of her butt at that point. The vet called me at 12:30 to say Roscoe was out of surgery. And oh yeah, River's got Giardia. So of course you have to treat both the dogs. Now, here's the horrible thing about Giardia. The thing is they can reinfect themselves very easily. So very often, my sister who works at the vet says 90% of the time they get it again because it can live in your yard for like 4 to 6 months. So let's say they go have diarrhea in the yard. You treat them, you give them the dewormer, you give them the antibiotics, and then they go step in where they pooped a month ago and then lick their foot and they get it again because it doesn't die off in the grass. I live in a condo. I have a shared yard. The person next to me has a dog and the person 2 doors down from me has 2 dogs. So I find out that River has the Giardia. When I go pick Roscoe up from his surgery, they give me all the medicine for both dogs to treat them. And it would have been normally like funny because Roscoe got home and he was like acting drunk and like stumbling into things. He got up on the back of the couch and was acting like he was going to jump off the back of the couch. And I was like, oh my God. But River was so sick. She just was miserable. And I kept trying to get her to drink water because I knew she was dehydrated. And she didn't want to, and it was just a disaster. And now I have to put pills down her throat, and she won't take pills in anything. She will spit the pill out, so I have to shove it down her throat. Roscoe's the opposite. I have to put his in like a cheese, and then he'll eat it, but he will not let me put something down his throat. So it's this whole production, and then they have to get this dewormer, which is a liquid that you have to put in their mouth like a syringe, right, and make them drink it, and they both hate it, and they're spitting it out, and it gets everywhere, and I was in hell. I was just in hell. I'm still cleaning up diarrhea, and now I have medicine issues, and I am having to pay attention to the yard. So I have to start rotating where I'm taking them to go to the bathroom in the yard. The good news is, while it can live in your yard for 4 to 6 months, if it's in the sun and it's hot out, it has to be like over 80 degrees, the sun can kill it within like a week. So I'm like, okay, where she was going Tuesday night when she was sick and I had to take her out like every hour does get a lot of sun and it was going to be hot. So my plan was to take them out further out, like towards the woods, and I got all bit up with mosquitoes all over my body from doing this. And then once they were like treated, start taking them out closer to the house again, where like it should be dead by now. But the problem that I'm facing is my neighbors. So the girl who lives right next to me, she is very nice, very responsible. She has a dog. When I text her to tell her that this was happening, she immediately took her dog's poop to get it tested, which was negative. And she stays out of my area. I stay out of her area. I don't really have a yard that is mine because it's a condo, but like, you know, I have a back door that opens directly out to the backyard, and that is kind of my space. It's more of a townhome than a condo, really, right? So here's my, you know, area, my house, my door, and then next to me, someone else's door, an area, and then next to them, someone else's door. So really like that strip of yard, kind of theirs, kind of theirs, kind of, right? Like you shouldn't be letting your dog go in front of other people's doors. But the people that live 2 doors down from me, I knew the guy who lives there in high school, and he was kind of a douche, and his friends were kind of douches in high school, but you know, it's high school, whatever. His wife seemed really nice when I first moved in, but their dogs have always pooped in like what I would consider my yard or my area. And normally, because I don't want to get in a fight with them, because if you all have been watching my channel for any length of time, you might remember that 5 years ago, when I was moving out of my old apartment into this place, a big reason that I decided to move was because my neighbors always let their dogs poop everywhere and they never picked it up, and we got in a big fight about it. And I don't like confrontation, so I just moved. I mean, after we got in a fight about it. I just, I can't stand it when people don't take care of their animals and their poop. If you have a dog, you have to pick up the poop. Maybe they think they don't have to pick up the poop, these neighbors I have now, because their dogs are like smaller, but they've got the fattest pug you've ever seen in your life, and that dog's poops are as big as Roscoe's poops, and Roscoe's a 25-pound dog. You have to pick it up. Their dogs, they don't really pick up the poop. They don't come over here all the time, but probably like once a week, I'm picking up an extra poop that I know my dogs didn't make. And I've seen their dogs poop in my yard, and then they don't come get it. I used to think that they didn't even know because they kind of just open their door, let their dogs go, and call them back whenever, and they're not even watching. Which, yeah, the HOA documents say you're not allowed to do that. The HOA documents say your dog has to be on a leash at all times. But we all kind of hate the HOA. You know, that a year or two ago, the HOA tried to put in these new, like, very strict pet regulations and say you could only have one dog and you couldn't rent to people with dogs and all this stuff. And all the dog people kind of fought back against the HOA. So I don't want to ruin that relationship that I have with my neighbors where it was kind of like the dog people versus the non-dog people. And her and I were both on the same team. I don't want to, like, get in a fight with them or make it awkward, and I want to stay on the same team, and I don't want to get the HOA involved because her and I are supposed to be against the HOA together, right? But the other day, this was before the Giardia, I was up on my deck and I looked down and her two dogs are both pooping in what would be the strip of lawn that is directly in front of my part of the building, my yard, far away from their door, right in front of my back door. And I'm just like, okay, let's see if they come get it. And I looked down and I think it was her husband. I could only see the feet. But that person is standing under the deck watching. So that person, I don't know if it's her or her husband, but watched it happen. No longer can I just be like, well, maybe they don't even know that their dogs are doing it. So I waited about 10 minutes and then I said something. I messaged her because we're Facebook friends on Facebook. I don't have his contact info, so I had to go to her. I said, hey, just so you know, I try to be really nice. I just picked up your dog's poops that they made in front of my back door. Could you just like come pick it up next time? I really don't want to get in a fight. She didn't message me back for like 2 days, but then when she did, she was like, oh my God, yeah, of course, sorry. I'm like, okay, great. Then when the Giardia thing happened, I was like, okay, maybe this will just kind of like put a cherry on top of that, because I messaged her and I was like, just want to let you know, my dogs have Giardia. It is a contagious intestinal parasite. It can be passed back and forth between dogs. You really do not want to let your dogs come over here. I was like, I'm only taking my dogs out to the right of my porch post to the end of the building. I'm keeping them in that area, but I just wanted to let you know you probably don't want to let your dogs come in this area. She's like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. My dogs are fine, but yeah. And they can be asymptomatic is the thing. So even if, like, I really appreciate that my neighbor directly next door got her dog tested, because, like, let's say that her dogs are asymptomatic, but then they could still pass it back to my dogs if they come over here and poop again, right? They could get it from my dogs coming over here. They could give it back to my dogs coming over here. Just keep your dogs over there. And I thought with the whole Giardia thing that maybe I needed to explain it to her more. Maybe I needed to be like, send her a Wikipedia link to it or something, or explain how bad and contagious this is. I don't know. I had been posting all week about the hell that I was in on Facebook, which she could see, but I don't know if she's paying attention to that. About a week into treatment, post-surgery and all that, I go out there and there is a poop. There is a poop that I know is not my dog's poops, because it was a solid poop that had been smashed by the lawnmower, and that's the other thing. I always make sure all the poop is picked up before the landscapers come every Wednesday. But no, there was a poop and it was kind of further out. It wasn't right next to my door. But it was in my strip of land, but it was, further out. So maybe they thought they didn't have to pick it up. I can't guarantee that it was them, but I've never seen any other dogs back there ever. And at that point, I was ready to blow, man. My head was like steam, smoke coming out of my ears. I was like, oh my God. Because I'm just like, they're going to give it back to my dogs. Like, I just got done treating this. It has been a nightmare. The dogs have been so sick. It is like ruining my house. It's expensive. And now she's letting her dogs come over here again. And like, so I bought a camera. That was all I could think to do. I was like, I don't feel like I can just go to her right now and be like, there was a poop out there again. She would just deny that it was her dogs probably. So I bought a camera. I haven't set it up yet. I spent like $50 on a security camera so that I can record the backyard, so that maybe I can be like, here's a video of your dog shitting in my yard again. You might just want to like look into Giardia because you really don't want it. But I just don't know. I feel like I don't know what to do. There's nothing I really can do except like I start taking my dogs down the street to go to the bathroom every time they have to go to the bathroom 5 times a day. But like, I don't, that's not why I bought this place. I should be able to use my own backyard that I paid to live here in a place with a door that opens to the backyard so I could use it. I don't know. I would love it if it wasn't her dogs. I would love to know who left that poop. Anyway, they're still finishing up their antibiotics. I still have to give them more dewormer, but like you treat them and then you wait and then you treat them again because it's just kind of almost assumed that they're going to get reinfected. River's poop is back to normal. Rosco is still having like soft serve ice cream poop. Sorry, it's so gross. I kind of said something to Robin about it while we were eating, and he was like really, I think almost kind of for real mad that I said it while we were eating, and I was like, sorry, I'm not affected by this anymore. Like, he has kids, right? Kids are gross and they poop everywhere. But he doesn't have dogs, so I guess for him it was just super gross. I'm just like, I don't know. I've been dealing with poop for weeks. It doesn't gross me out anymore. Like, it's gross, but like hearing about it isn't gross. Having it all over my fingers when I'm trying to pick up the diarrhea poop in the yard with a bag and make sure that I get it all. And then I'm like ripping out the grass. I'm like, HOA is going to love this. I'm making all these bald spots in the grass because I'm trying to rip up every blade of grass that has touched diarrhea poop. And I'm like, it's gotten on my fingers. It's getting under my nails. And people can get it too, by the way. So this whole time I've had to watch myself and make sure that I don't get it from them, and then wash their bowls, wash the blankets, wash them, having to give them baths, having to wipe their butts. It was a really terrible like week. They're doing better right now, and I think the reason Roscoe's still having soft poop is because of the antibiotics, I hope, not because of the Giardia. But anyway, if you've had it before, let me know if your pets have had it before, let me know what that experience was like. Does it sound like my experience? Maybe you're lucky enough to have a dog who at least doesn't eat poop. Oh my God. So yeah, other than that, I'll tell you about the girls that I've met on Bumble. So I kind of talked already about them a little bit. There was one girl I went out with just like one time, and she seemed really nice, kind of a homebody, doesn't drink alcohol, actually complete homebody. She said she doesn't really go out, she doesn't do anything. She was very dressed down, like weirdly so, but like seemed really nice, but we just didn't really have anything in common. So we didn't hang out again. It's kind of just like online dating. You know, sometimes you go on a date and you're like, that person was perfectly nice, but like we weren't clicking, you know? The other girl that I went out with, you know, she was just, again, kind of some conspiracy theories, a little bit of a dash of hypocrisy on certain issues and stuff. And I just don't know that we were really getting along, although at first it seemed like we really were. Then she went on vacation for a while, and then she did hit me up when we got back, and we kind of made like tentative plans, and then nobody followed through. And I think I'm just kind of like done really pursuing that friendship because she kind of seemed a little bit like maybe a superficial person a little bit. Like I just didn't, I don't know. And our politics were just opposite, right? But the third girl, she's the one who's coming to stay with me tomorrow. She is the one that I think I talked about in my last video. Like, I was supposed to hang out with her a couple weekends ago at this beer festival, and then the plans just ended up not happening. She had COVID. It was super hot out, and I didn't want to go be outside and then drinking, then have to drive home, and all of this fell through. I did go see her then the next weekend though, and we had an okay time. One thing, we don't have what we do have in common is that like we both like breweries and cocktail bars. I remember I was out with the other girl who lives here, and we had brunch, and after brunch she was like, well, I think I'm gonna go to the grocery store, do you want to go with me? And I was like, oh, you know, I don't really need to go to the grocery store. In my head I was like, I kind of want to go up to the bar and have like a mimosa or something, you know what I mean? I have cut back on my drinking so much since March when I started the semaglutide. But sometimes I still want to have like a drink or two, you know? And like I keep meeting these girls who are totally sober, which is fine. Like absolutely can be friends with girls like that, but I also want some friends who want to go to the cocktail bars with me because right now all I have is like Pete who wants to go have cocktails and this girl who lives 90 minutes away. But one thing I'm noticing with her, and we'll see how it goes because maybe she's just been kind of nervous, but she talks a lot and I feel like it's really hard to get a word in. Like, I really kind of am just like listening to her most of the time that we're hanging out. I haven't really talked about myself too much. Um, it is hard. It is hard to find a window to, I feel like I have to interrupt to like chime in or say anything. But I don't know if it's nerves on her part or she just, I think her way of feeling like she's getting to know someone is just to kind of like, you know, give them all the info about her. But we haven't really talked about me that much. For example, she was looking at her schedule to determine when she could come see me again. And there was like one night that she threw out there where I was like, well, I can't do that night because I have to go into, like, you can't stay with me that night because I have to be up really early and go into work. And I was like, yeah, we do these 2 weeks every year where we go in and we do this like training thing. And I just started telling her about why I have to be in person at work for a couple of weeks here in August. And she cut me off and she was like, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. We just won't do that day. And I was kind of like, well, I wasn't making an excuse for why I couldn't hang out on that one day. I was literally just trying to like tell her about my job because she'd never asked. Like I was just thought I'd talk about me for a minute, you know, but maybe that'll come around and maybe she just, again, I think she maybe is kind of nervous and kind of, I don't know. I'm giving it another shot because we like to do a lot of the same things and she doesn't seem like a bad person at all or like a mean person or anything like that. She just seems kind of like talkative. But I had told her that she could stay with me. I told her before this, I was like, it's going to be an air mattress though, because that's all I have. I don't have the proper guest accommodations. I have a hard bed in my basement that no one would want to sleep on. So it's going to be an air mattress situation, but I have spent this weekend again cleaning my house super, super well in preparation to have someone come stay with me. But we'll see. That should be all right. And then, like I said, I connected with my friend from grade school, and she's going to start playing trivia with us again. Well, not really. I didn't know her from school. I knew her because she lived next door to my grandparents growing up. And so this week, I'm supposed to hang out with Cassie on Wednesday. Let's see. I hung out with Robin today. I'm supposed to hang out with my new Bumble friend tomorrow, and then trivia with Melissa on Tuesday, and then hang out with Cassie on Wednesday. Honestly, it's too much. It's too much. I have gone from being the kind of person that wanted to go out like every day to where when I broke up with Pete, part of the reason I would get back together with Pete over and over and over again was that I was bored and wanted something to do and wanted a social life. And then when I finally really broke it off with Pete, my big concern was like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to hang out with now? And now I'm like, I don't want something to do more than one day in a row. Like I need days between the days when I have to do things. And I guess I'm just getting old, or I've just kind of, I don't know, settled into being more okay with my own company. I told Robin today, I'm really enjoying not dating. Like, I don't know. I hadn't seen Robin in a long time because I am more of a plan ahead person. And he is a spur of the moment person. This man calls me, and he will call too, not text, just randomly out of the blue. And like, there is a 2% chance that if you are hitting me up at any random moment, that I am going to be like ready to go, but not already doing something. If I don't already have plans, I am no makeup, pajamas, probably greasy hair, like not, it's going to take me 2 hours to get ready. But he's not really a plan ahead person. He says that he is, but he's not, you know. And with most of my friends, it's more of a like, oh, when do you want to hang out? How about a week from Thursday, 7 o'clock at Brewery X? Okay, I'll be there. But like, I am not like, you call me right now. Do you want to hang out? Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And that's more Robin. So we keep missing each other, but we did finally get together today. I said something, or because I asked him if like he was doing any online dating, and he was like, God, no. And he was like, but you know, something that I just keep seeing, he's got an 8-year-old daughter. It's like all the people on the dating websites are like child free, don't want kids, won't date anyone with kids. And I was like, what? Where are these people? Send them to me. Like, it must be all the women are child free and all the men have kids, because I can't find anybody that doesn't have kids on the dating websites. And he was like, I just thought it was kind of a given when you get to be our age that people have kids. And yet I just keep seeing all these people who don't want to date someone with kids. And he was pissed off about it. He said that it just seems like antinatalist to him and he's not into it. And I knew that I had to tread lightly because I didn't want to upset him. But at the same time, he is talking about me. Because if I get back on the dating websites, I am going to put on there that I am child-free by choice and I'm not really looking to date anyone with young kids. And I told him that. I was like, I have spent the last decade of my life dating people with kids. And I just kind of feel like I've done that. I feel like, and when I went from dating Pete to dating Ian, I went backwards because Ian's kids were younger. So I had like made this much progress with Pete's kids and I was going back a few years, and I just said to Robin, I was like, it would be like, there are a lot of people who have kids and they raise their kids and their kids are grown. Imagine your daughter gets to be 18, you are done. You have done the extracurriculars, the teacher conferences, the paid for braces, got your kid, you've grown them into a good person and now they're going off, they're flying the nest and you finally are just done raising your kids. And then you start dating someone with a 2-year-old. And he was like, I would love that. I love kids. And I was like, okay, but you are like a rare breed because there are a lot of people out there who just feel like if they have older kids that they're done now. They've raised their kids. They're done with that part of their lives. And I kind of feel like I have spent 10 years dating people with young kids. I'm done with that. And I told him like, I'm willing to date someone with teenagers or like self-sufficient kids. But for me, a lot of it is just like, and he was all like, it's not like I can understand not wanting to date someone with like a 2-year-old kid or something. You have to like diapers and all of that. But he's like, my daughter's like 8. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like that. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, for me, it's like a schedule thing. It's like, I just want to be dating someone that I can be like, here's a concert. Let's go. Let's go out of town this weekend. And not have to worry about the whole like, oh, can you switch weekends with your kid's mom so we can do this thing and blah, 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 And I'm like, I just feel like I've been doing that for a decade and I don't want to do it anymore. And I think that's fair. I think it's completely fair. I'm not an antinatalist because I don't think that no one should have kids. I think that if people want to have kids, they should absolutely have kids. Please have kids. Your kids will take care of me when I'm old in the state-run nursing home facility. My taxes will pay for their education, and I'm happy to do so because I want to live in a society with educated young people. I don't want to raise or help raise any more children. I'm good, And I think that's totally fair, but Robin seemed to be very highly annoyed by it. And it got me thinking like, gosh, is there just this plethora of women on dating websites, because that's what he's seeing, that are child-free and don't want to date anyone with kids. And then there's all these men who have kids. I will be honest with you. I had a little bit of a crush on a guy for a few weeks here last month. It was the first time that I'd ever felt any kind of desire to date since Ian and I stopped talking, because I really was just kind of like, I'm done. I'm going to make friends. I don't want to date anyone. I think that it wasn't a real crush. It's just someone that I know, like, I never know who's watching this channel. It's someone I know through work, but I don't work with them. They don't work at the same place I work, but I'm connected to them through that. And I run into them sometimes, and I ran into them, and I'd known them for a long time, and we got to chatting, and then I kind of like almost had like a dream where they were in it. It wasn't like a sexy dream or anything, but I got to thinking like, gosh, I think I would really, that would be someone I would like totally want to go on a date with. He seems really nice. We seem like we get along. I don't know that much about him, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I remember him saying that he has a kid or kids, but I didn't know the details. And then I ran into him again, and I made a point to ask, and I found out he has 3 kids. And I was like, oh, that's it. I'm done. The crush is gone. The crush is over. There is no crush anymore. The crush is gone. I don't think I ever really had a crush, but I think it was just, I was entertaining the idea of like, this is someone I might want to have a crush on. I think just because, I don't know. that part of my brain, the being in love, the flirting part of my brain has been turned off. And subconsciously, my subconscious was like, maybe we're ready to have a crush again, but not on someone with 3 kids. Like, it's just, I can see Robin's point of view. I can see how, like, if you had a kid and all the dating profiles are people being like, no kids, it would piss you off. But at the same time, I think that that's fair, that if you don't want that, you should put it on your profile. You shouldn't, like, have to date someone with kids if you don't want to, just because you're at a certain age. And I'm at an age now where I could potentially meet someone who has grown kids or self-sufficient kids. I mean, hell, Pete's kids now, if I had stayed with Pete's kids are, his oldest kid is gonna drive next year. Like, so they're kind of almost there. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna go back again. Like, just keep dating men with younger and younger kids. So I'm perpetually dating someone with a 5-year-old. No, I'm good. But I would probably date someone who had, like, teenagers. I like teenagers. I work with teenagers. I work with young people, you know. Despite being a childless cat lady, I do care about the future, as I do work with youth, just not real little ones. But I'm not going to get political in this video because that's a whole other video. The attacks on single women and the attacks on child-free women specifically. Whew, yeah, you guys, I could talk all about that. But I think it would probably just be better for me to do a video updating everyone on what it's like to be child-free. I have said this before, but I made that video when I was 35 about whether or not to have kids and being pretty sure I didn't want to, but the societal pressure and the biological clock being like, you need to be sure about this decision. And I've always thought I need to revisit that topic, and it's talked about so much more now, which is a good thing, because it used to be you could only find people talking about how great it was to be a parent and that it was the best thing ever, and you could not find the other opinion for the life of you. And now there's lots of content out there about being child-free, and I think that's important. I think there are pros and cons to both options. But it always blows my mind, just give you a little preview of what I might talk about if I make a whole video about this, that, like, I, as a child-free person who is 100% satisfied in my decision to not have kids and has absolutely no regrets about that, and I know now that I absolutely made the right decision, and I wish I could go back and tell 35-year-old me, like, don't sweat this so much, it's gonna be fine. Even though I know that I didn't want kids and I'm glad that I didn't have them, I absolutely believe that people who do have kids, that it makes them, for some of them, very happy. That there are some people who love being parents, who have kids, and that is the right choice for them. And yet, if you try to flip that, it's so hard to find someone who has kids, but who can believe that someone who doesn't is happy with that decision. You know what I mean? Like, I am happy not having kids, but I also trust you when you say that you are happy having them. So why can't you fathom that I'm happy not, right? Like, it's called trying to empathize with other people who've made different decisions, who are different, and just recognizing that people are different. But there's something so threatening about women who are independent, single, women who don't have kids, any combination of those things, right? There's something so threatening for some reason about the fact that we can really be happy. And I think it has to do with the fact that men, and this is, studies have been done, right? This is stats. The happiest group of people are, like, single women. The least happy group of people are single men. Men need us more than we need men. There's a reason that men get remarried after divorce much quicker than women, because they get used to having this domestic servant that they can have sex with, and they want to have another one of those. And women are like, oh my God, I don't have to take care of someone else all of a sudden. I can just take care of myself. I'm free. Wonderful. You know, we're not ready to rush back into that right away. And so there are a lot of men out there that, instead of being like, wow, I should better myself to be the kind of man that is attractive to a woman, they just think, oh, we need to take away that woman's rights so that she is forced to be with me again, like in the 1950s, because otherwise no woman would choose to be with me, right? There are so many people out there that just believe that a person like me couldn't possibly be happy. But all I'll say about that for now, because I think I could just do like a whole video or multiple videos about, in fact, I kind of think maybe in one video I should address the politics of it just to get it out and be done with it, but then just make a separate video that is not political at all, but just talks about my decision and the pros and cons, you know, both sides of not having kids at almost 42. Next week, 42. Okay, my computer, the screen goes to sleep sometimes while I'm recording, and then I hit a button and things got weird. But I think we're back on track, and I don't think I lost everything that I already said. I hope I didn't just lose 40 minutes of babbling. I almost called it content, and then that felt like a little much, right? But yeah, I don't think, I'm not trying to date again right now, but I also know that I will at some point. I'm sure, like, I know myself well enough to know that at one night I'll get lonely and bored, and I'll be like, let me just take a peek at the dating websites. Let me just make a profile. You know, I'm sure it will happen again. But I want to lose more weight first, so I'm down 25 pounds, which feels significant, and I can tell now. I'm down 2 belt loops, but I don't think I'm down like a size yet, which is kind of crazy. I would think 2 belt loops would be a size, but it's not apparently. I can tell with just the way that I feel when I like put my own arm across my own body, but I don't feel different. But I don't know, I've got a long way to go. I would like to lose another 25, and I'm losing it so slow. Do you know what's so funny? I was at Brewery yesterday with Robin, and I saw my doctor for the second time that I've seen her there. And it's kind of nice because she waves and says hello to me. And I'm like, she must have so many patients, but she recognizes me. But yeah, still a long way to go. I'm losing slow. I'm like a slow loser on the semaglutide, but the side effects have mostly calmed down for me. Really, the only side effect I'm still dealing with, aside from like dry bloodshot eyes, is my pulse is still a bit up there. And I worry because I've read more about this eye stroke thing, this NAION, and it seems to be, they think, caused by low blood pressure at night. And because you have low blood pressure, you lose blood flow to the optic nerve, which can cause you to go blind. And that the reason that this may increase with people on Ozempic is that they may be on blood pressure medication. They don't adjust their blood pressure medication when they start to lose weight, and so their blood pressure starts to go too low. But the thing is, I'm not on blood pressure medication, but I am on a beta blocker and have been since 2009 because I get palpitations. And my blood pressure goes very low at night. So I've started taking my blood pressure now, and I do get under 90/60. Sometimes it'll be like 85/55 when I'm lying down. One time it was 49 was my bottom number. And I'm like, I don't know if this is bad for me or not, because I don't know what my blood pressure was before I was on semaglutide, because I didn't own a blood pressure monitor. I wasn't paying any attention. Maybe I'm always like this. I'm not like fainting or anything. I think maybe I just have low blood pressure, but that doesn't make me feel any better about the eye thing. I don't know. But I have an endocrinology appointment this month, and then a regular doctor's appointment the next month, and then an ophthalmology appointment the month after that. So maybe they'll be able to tell me, but they probably won't. Rosco's here. I wish you guys could see him right now. He's so cute. Cute for a little poop muncher. Anyway, but I'm just going to stay on it. But yeah, I'm still only losing like 1 pound a week, which I just know so many people are losing so much more than that, so much quicker. So I'm getting a little impatient, but you know, it's fine, I guess. Whatever. I had my first appointment with the insurance company's nutritionist via Zoom that I have to do to keep my coverage. Basically, I'm giving them all my data in exchange for coverage for this medicine because they want all my lab work. They want my weight, and they are sending me a scale that's connected to the internet that I have to use. So they are big brothering me in exchange for taking all of my data, which they will probably sell at some point. They let me have this medicine for $25 a month. So I guess it's worth it. I guess I share everything on the internet anyway. Might as well have all my stats and figures. But yeah. So enough about that. What else? Gosh, I guess I'll tell you about hanging out with Pete. So I've talked about Pete and I, maybe every 3 months we grab a drink or something. We went out last weekend, and I really wanted to go to this new cocktail bar downtown so I live in the city where Cheap Trick, the band, is from, and one of the Cheap Trick owners opened this cocktail bar. I just wanted to go because I like good cocktails, but I don't know anyone else who lives around here who likes cocktails. So, except Pete. So we went. And really cute place, really good vibes. Cocktails, very mid. The actual drinks themselves, not that great. But the environment was really, really cute. Like, I'd go there again. I just don't know what I'd get. But like, you know, same as always, whenever I hang out with Pete, I'm always reminded about how much I enjoy hanging out with Pete. Like, I told Robin, and he's like, how was that? And I was like, it's great, like always. Like, that wasn't what he was expecting me to say. And I'm like, no, every time I hang out with Pete, I think the conversation flows so easily. You know, we talked about Riot Fest. Pete says, so I'm planning on going to Riot Fest with my friend Brendan, who we'll ride in together and ride back together. And then my Bumble friend will actually be there. So I'll probably meet up with her when I'm actually there because we like the same music and Brendan and I don't. It's punk and metal, and he goes for the metal and I go for the punk, but there's multiple stages and stuff. So I just imagine that Brendan and I will end up splitting up. But there's also potentially going to be a Something Corporate late night after show. It hasn't been announced yet, but it's rumored to be happening on Saturday night. And Pete and I, we basically met because of Andrew McMahon, the lead singer. And we've seen Andrew many, many times under his new different band, but Something Corporate. The band that was cool in 2002 that I listened to in my dorm room, that I cried to their song Constantine, thinking that I knew what love was when I was 20 years old. And the thing is, Pete and I, we connected over that. We connected over that band. And, you know, he's dating a 28-year-old now. So she was like a fetus when they were cool. Like, definitely, they don't have that in common. But I asked him, like, are you going to go if they do a show? This could be like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually see them reunited as the old band, Something Corporate. Not like Andrew McMahon, not Jack's Mannequin, but actually Something Corporate. And he keeps saying that he thinks that he is going to go and will go. And then I'm like, cool, you can walk me to my car afterwards because the show's not going to be over till like 1, 2 in the morning in Chicago. And if it's at the venue that it's rumored to be at, but it hasn't been announced yet, then I'm pretty comfortable with that area of Chicago. I think it'll be okay. But like, I would still like someone to walk me to my car afterwards. But I just can't imagine, as much as he's saying now that he would go, I just don't know how his girlfriend, like how Emily would be okay with that. Like, you would really be okay with him going to a concert with me? I don't know. But I would like it if he would go. I would like to go with someone that I know. But that's the kind of show I will probably go alone, even if I don't have anyone to go with. It doesn't sound like this Bumble girl will be going to that, even though she likes that band. Otherwise, worst case, they'll be at Riot Fest Sunday. But I'd much rather see them at their like specific like late night show that they might play on Saturday night, just with Something Corporate fans, you know. But I'm excited about Riot Fest. We talked about that. We talked about, you know, I told him the whole Giardia story, and he updated me on how his cats are doing. They're getting very old. He's like a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old cat. And we talked about politics, and we made fun of JD Vance a lot. And we always crack each other up, you know. We share the same opinions on things. We have the same sense of humor. We talked about the Veep steaks. He told me about the different cocktails that he's tried to make from the cocktail book that I bought him a couple of Christmases ago. You know, our conversation flows so easily that I still, to this day, and he drops little nuggets of information about the difficulties that he's having with Emily, but it's always in the same vein. It's always just that she's a homebody. She doesn't like concerts. She doesn't like going out. Sometimes there's a hint after a couple of drinks of like, me and you, we would have done all this and we would have had so much fun this. It's the same story, right? Like, he wanted to have it all. He wanted to have her for the domestic life and me for the having fun, but you can't have it all. And he really doesn't even deserve my company still at this point, but I do enjoy hanging out with him, and I always come away from those conversations and those beers that we grab here and there thinking to myself, like, gosh, why couldn't you have just been a better man? Why couldn't you have just been a little bit better of a man? Even before he met Emily, all I needed him to do was like clean up his house a little bit and have his kids clean up after themselves. That was it. And not even that much, just like try a little, you know? And like, you know, he just couldn't do that. And then he found someone. I saw a meme the other day that I actually saved it because it was like perfect. It was like, let me see. Okay, I'm going to find it, and then I will magically skip ahead in this video so you're not sitting here waiting for me to find it. Stop me if I've said this before on this channel. When a man doesn't want to change, he will find any woman that's okay with his lifestyle so he doesn't have to grow up. That's why these men will destroy a relationship with a real woman, because she sets boundaries. The idea is kind of that, I think, yeah, if a man meets a woman and she requires him to better himself a little bit, but then he's got another woman over there who will just put up with all of his shit and does not require him to change, that's who he's going to go for. You know? Even if the first woman is a much better fit who and bettering himself would be good, so often they just want to, you know, it's like my ex-husband. He wanted to play video games all day, and that's all he wanted to do. And he wasn't willing to change or do anything else or get dressed up and take me on a date. He just wanted to play video games. And he let me just leave because all he wanted to do was play video games. And, you know, it's like Ian telling me I just couldn't be the man you needed me to be. Well, yeah, you absolutely could have. You just didn't want to. You didn't want to try. You didn't want to change. You didn't want to better yourself. And it's like, Pete, like, all I ever asked you to do was ask your kids to wipe their pee off the toilet seat. You could have done that. But instead, you found a different woman who just wiped it off herself. Don't ask me. I still don't know why a 28-year-old wants to date a 43-year-old with 2 teenage boys. I still don't know. But anyway, you know, throughout the years, I've become Facebook friends with random people that I've dated here and there. You know, like we'll go on a couple dates. I'll become Facebook friends with them, and then like we never talk again. But I have still been able to keep up with what's going on with them through just seeing their Facebook posts. And the other day, I saw that there's this guy that I went out with just, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 times, either 2 or 3 times, during one of the times, post-pandemic, I think, probably 2021, during one of the times when Pete and I were on a break or something. And we went out, and I remember that he was just so, like, I don't want to say, maybe cynical is not the right word, but he hated on everything that I liked. Like, if I said I liked Newfound Glory, that they were my favorite band, he would just like be like, oh, they're not a very good band, blah, blah, here's why they suck, and here's this and that. And it just, if I said I liked fruity sour beers, he'd be like, well, that's not real serious beer, you know, you gotta be into like the IPAs, those are the real beers. It just seemed like everything that I liked, he was crapping all over it. And so I remember the last time I went out with him, I don't remember again if it was like the second or third time, he tried to kiss me at the end of the night, and I sort of dodged it because I was like, you just spent the whole night basically insulting my taste. And the thing is, if it's funny, if it's all in good fun, that's fine. Like, my ex-husband and I would always give each other shit. And that was not why we broke up. That actually worked for us. We were funny, we cracked each other up, and we always were like giving each other shit like in good fun. But this was like, I've only been out with you 2 times, and you literally are just talking crap about everything that I say that I like. It wasn't fun or funny. It was just negative. And yet, so I never, you know, I didn't continue to see him. And then like, you know, not long after that, I noticed that he had started dating someone and started posting with this person. And the other day, they got engaged. So I saw that on Facebook. And then there's this little part of me that takes a moment that is like, you know, I tend to blame myself when I think about like, why am I single? I know that part of it is because I'm okay being single, which means that I won't settle because I'm not someone who has to be with someone. If I was someone who had to be with someone, I would be cleaning up pee off toilet seats at Pete's house right now. Like, you know, there's plenty of guys that I've dated that I could have settled with if my main goal in life was to be in a relationship. Ian would still be living here right now if I were just willing to put up with whatever. But because I'm okay being on my own, I guess that means I don't have to settle. I don't know. But then I tend to also be like, it must be me, right? Like if I'm 42 years old and I've dated so many people over the years, as everyone who's actually watched this channel for any length of time knows, I have tons of stories. And I'm still single. I'm the common denominator here. Like it must be me, right? But then I see something like that and I'm like, that was him. That was him. He and I didn't work out because he sucked. But now he's engaged and I'm still here single. So what was it? Was it that her taste was just so cool that he didn't insult her taste? Or did he do the same thing to her and insult everything that she likes and she thought it was funny? Or did he insult everything that she likes and she was just okay with that and ignored it? Which one is? I kind of want to know, just for like science purposes. I sort of want to know, like what, because I just don't know. There's another guy that I'm Facebook friends with. This is a story about timing. I have to go way back to, I guess, early 2014 for this one. I had just broken it off with Jack. Jack is someone I was just madly in love with at the time, and he just destroyed me. And I remember going out to this comedy show with some friends right after Jack and I had ended things. I was so distraught and so depressed. But I actually hit it off with this guy that I met there, and we ended up making out in the parking lot that night, and we exchanged numbers. And afterwards, he sent me a mixtape that he made me. He made me a mixtape, and we became Facebook friends. And then I just probably my fault. I don't think I fully ghosted, because I've never been the type that can just fully ghost someone, but I sort of fell off. I stopped answering him very often. I just wasn't ready, and the mixtape was coming on way too strong, because I was someone who was just heartbroken, just in the throes of heartbreak over Jack. And I got this other guy sending me a mixtape, and I could not at that point in time. Right? But we stayed Facebook friends. And he backed off after that. And I just see him post now. And he's so funny. And we have the exact same politics. And sometimes I even like his posts. Sometimes I even comment on his posts. I mean, it's been 10 years, you know what I mean? But he is married. He, a few years ago, he met someone. He married her. They have one kid. And he posts the nicest stuff about her. Every time they have an anniversary or it's Mother's Day or whatever, he'll post oh, my wife is a beautiful wife, blah, blah. She's made me a better person, etc. She's a nurse, and so on National Nurses Day, he'll post oh, it's National Nurses Day. My wife has been a nurse for this many years. She works so hard. She's so wonderful, blah, blah. Basically just what every woman wants, which is for a guy to declare his love for you and how great you are to the rest of the world, to all his friends and family. And I just see that and I'm like, gosh, what a great guy. You know what I mean? And it feels like we have a ton in common, and probably he could have been my perfect guy, but I was just also just not in the mindset at that point when I met him. It was never gonna happen. There's nothing that I could even do right now if I could go back in time to 2014 and tell me get over Jack. You need to date this guy with the mixtape. Listen to that damn mixtape, because this is a good guy. I just don't think that I could have done it at that point. It just was bad timing, But so what is it? I don't know. Why am I single? Is it me? Is it because I'm not settling, and everyone else who's not single has settled and I'm just not doing that? Is it because I don't want kids? And I don't think it's that, because in my 20s and 30s, that was never an issue. I feel like every guy I ever dated in my 20s and 30s also didn't want kids or didn't care. So that's mostly been to my benefit, I feel like. I know that there are some men out there who want kids for sure, but I never really dated any, honestly. My ex-husband was staunchly against it, and so was Adam. And Pete was like, I would if you wanted to, but I don't care, So, I don't know. Or is it just bad timing? But I can say this. My life doesn't suck. I'm not miserable. I'm definitely not a miserable old cat lady, unless I am cleaning up dog poop vomit, and then I am definitely a miserable dog lady. But right now, my social calendar is packed. I should probably wrap up this video. I feel like I have more things to do before my friend comes. My new friend comes tomorrow, but then, like I said, I have a super busy week. And then it's my birthday. So I guess I will come back, and I'll come back when I come back. All right. Am I forgetting anything? I kind of had jotted, if you've seen me looking down, it's because I did jot down some notes before the video, things I could talk about. But I think I pretty much, you guys don't need to hear me talk about my job or anything boring like that. I mean, I feel like the fact that I talked too much about dog poop in this video is probably enough. So we'll call it. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.